Welcome to Variations, where you will be inspired by word, images, and music. Today, we end our series on relationships. We're talking about God's relationship with us. I'm glad you're here.
When I set the table, I often think of my ancestors. When I cook, I think of them. When I set the table, I think of the laughs me and my siblings had with mom and dad. I think of the times I saw sadness take over when he was paying taxes or the monthly bills. When I set the table, I think of being home from school, forcing myself to eat something when feeling ill. When I set the table, I think of the difficult decisions made, agreements that would literally affect generation next, my kids, their kids, which inherently takes me back to my parents' parents, and on and on and on back through the ages. Like, despite the rage and anger felt at various times in the history of this nation before the arrival of the enslaved, I feel like a covenant with God must have been made. Like, no matter what happens, don't you ever, ever, ever forget to feed yourself nor your babies. God was with us. God is with us. God is great. God is good. Let us thank Him for our food. And so I thank God for our food, the food that has sustained us. The promise to feed us remains. But it's like we didn't know we were leaving or if we'd be back.
It just was no time to pack. I guess it bees like that sometimes. We cried, then ate. Like the time when Grandma died, fried chicken, string beans through tough times, jams and candied yams, pork chops, peanuts, Virginia baked hams, okra, gumbo too, beef stew, fresh shrimp, blue crabs, and warm beer. Been a long time coming. Through the years, chitlin, succotash to start the new year, fish fry Friday night, pot roast on Sunday, veggies on the side, orange carrots, green beans, ice water, and some iced tea. Baby, check on them potatoes, please. Summertime, and it's hotter than July. Hot dogs and hamburgers, yes. Potato salad, deviled eggs, corn relish, and please don't forget the spice. Salt and pepper, yes. Paprika, good. Lowry's best. Garlic powder, cloves. Coffee can of grease, back of the stove. And what about Old Bay? Man, we could talk all day. We have walked this road before. We made lemonade. Hunger pains ignored no more. When food wasn't found, we prayed. Unclear and unknown, forcibly taken from home. Just wasn't no time to pack. But these recipes, see, they go way back. Black-eyed peas in my pocket. If you ain't lived it, don't knock it. Food for thought, straight from the soul.
The ancient church spoke of the relationship between Jesus and his disciples, between Christ and the church, as like that of a couple in a marriage. Jesus is the bridegroom, the church is the bride. The most obvious reason is because of the covenant between Jesus and us. It's very much like the vows given in marriage. The traditional marriage vows go like this. In the name of God, I take you to be my spouse, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, until we are parted by death. This is my solemn vow. A very dear couple I know had been together for 74 years. That long ago bride would say, with a twinkle in her eye, I love him, but there were days when I didn't like him. And he would say the same about me, she would say. She admitted that on days when he didn't do something she wanted him to do, she would fix him the best dinner she possibly could, with all of his favorites served with the sweetest smile. He would feel so guilty, he would end up doing exactly what she wanted him to do. There are a lot of things that happen at the dinner table. Sometimes guilt is served there. It was at the dinner table that Jesus told his disciples of the covenant he was making for them. That would end up being his last supper. And Jesus asks them to remember. This couple who had been married for over 70 years, they amazed me. I don't know how relationships last for that long. Together, they had more love to share than any couple I've ever known. She was a tiny woman, under 5 feet tall. He was over 6 feet tall. And they held hands all the time as they walked into the church, as they took their seats in the third pew right in front of the pulpit, as they worshiped, as they stood to sing the hymns, as they drank coffee in the fellowship hall, and as they walked to their car to go home after church. He had a hard battle with cancer and fought to the very end. When he passed away, she grieved hard. She wanted to die with him. She told God that, but she wasn't dying. She was angry with God. She told God that too. She said God could handle her anger. She continued to live. She continued to have faith. And she continued to share love. And she would talk to her husband as if he was there, and told me so with the clear and absolute trust that he was somehow. It was the Last Supper Jesus would have. He was arrested and killed after that supper. The disciples, I imagine, grieved hard, and I'm sure they couldn't imagine what they would do without their leader, their friend, their teacher. The vow Jesus made to them was to love and to cherish, for better or worse, richer or poorer, in sickness and in health. And now that death was about to part them, Jesus told them to remember. Remember the stories he told, the way they felt together, the things that they did, the love that they shared. Remember and carry on. When I asked my friend how her relationship with her husband survived over 70 years, she said, as simple as can be, it lasts because you believe it will, and then you make it happen. I imagine that is very similar to what Jesus wanted to impart to his disciples. Remember all of it. Believe it happened, and through you, it can continue to happen. In this covenant Jesus makes with his disciples, he promises to always be near. Love never ends. As for our part in this covenant, we are asked to share the love, even on those days when we don't like the other. It's something to think about. Thanks for watching this first season of Variations. We've been talking about relationships, our relationship with other people and with God through the covenants. And so I want to ask you, what is your best relationship? How do you have a relationship with the divine? What is it you remember about sitting at the dinner table? Comment down below. I do read those, so let me know what you're thinking. I really enjoyed being with you this season. We're going to take a break for a couple of weeks, and then we'll be back again, so watch for us. This is an evolving process, and we're glad you're joining us on this journey. Be sure to like us, share with friends, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.